Hello, and welcome to another Gwent City video. I'm ManTXD, and welcome to the first of our series of the Gwent Community. The Gwent Community is one of the best communities I've ever been part of. They're very active, we have streamers, we have content providers. And what a better way to start this than having the community manager himself, Mr. Pawel Burza. How you doing? Welcome to this video.
Hello. Wow, thank you. Thank you for the introduction. It's really awesome. And one thing that I have to agree for sure is that we have an awesome community and a bunch of really awesome streamers. And it's just, yeah, it's overwhelming and it's great. And I'm happy that you mentioned it. And I'm glad to be here.
Just once again, first of all, thank you so much for being here. It's really appreciate it. Everybody knows you as a community manager, but we're also interested on the most human part of you. We want to know a little bit more about yourself. For example, is there a game or something like that that inspired you to be part of the video game industry?
Well, that's a pretty big question, actually. Well, for me, I've always been an avid gamer since I was a kid, and what I've always been really drawn to was RPGs. But there was this moment in my life when I was in high school where I was really into card games, and specifically this was Magic the Gathering. So with that, kind of my interest in card games started, and it's something that has been coming back always, and something that I've always gone back to. But as a gamer, I mean, my first gaming platform I could say was an NES, and that's where it all started. And then I've always had different types of platforms, played on PC, on Nintendo 64. I had Game Boys and stuff like that. So I've always been into gaming. So this is a really big part of my life. And I think that kind of answers the question why I am where I am today, since I've always loved and wanted to work in the industry. So I'm really happy to be here.
That's awesome. And with that, how long have you been working with CDPR?
It's going to be almost 2 years right now, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 2 years. Exactly.
That is awesome. You're a well-seasoned veteran right there already.
Well, there are people who have been here since Witcher 1, so you can say that I'm maybe not like one of the younger members, but still I feel quite fresh, but not like 100% like new.
All right.
If that makes sense.
It totally does. It totally does. So what does a day on your job look like?
It's really difficult to name one day, because one day can be where I just come in, get a coffee, and go straight to everything connected with social media, Reddit, our forums, of course, Instagram, Facebook, and this is almost everything for The Witcher, for CDPR, and of course for Gwent. But you have days when everything is kind of like calm, or calm before the storm, and then you have days where you get lots of awesome feedback from the community, or you get a day where you receive an awesome Gwent table made out of real wood. I mean, there's nothing like a normal day, because there's always something going on, something interesting. Sometimes new projects pop up, which is really awesome. And so there's nothing like a typical day or a routine that you will have. Of course, for me as a person working with the community, the most important thing is to be in touch with the community every day and to post everything on our social channels, so kind of keep everyone informed. I try to, of course, be on Discord. Recently more on the Polish-speaking side, but also on all the groups like the Gwent group, and of course on Gwent City, where I pretty much try to talk to people, answer some questions. And also, when we talk about Gwent, I mean, this is a card game that we created for the community, since it was really, I mean, I remember the day before, or a couple of days before we launched Gwent, or even a couple months before, where I would come in every day and just get thousands and thousands of emails from people asking for us to make Gwent a standalone game. And since it's here, I mean, now we are collecting a lot of feedback. And what I like is people come straight to me and tell me, what do you think about this card? Do you think, are you guys thinking about reworking something? This is really awesome because because we test by ourselves. I mean, we have a whole team dedicated to testing cards and kind of game design, but also they collect feedback, we collect feedback, and we kind of try to put this all together. So this is one of the really cool things. But like I said, we also get a lot of fan mail, and it's all like, it's written mail, but it's also emails. And there's no like really simple standard day, but this is like pretty much what's going on. And of course, a lot of meetings, a lot of creative meetings, which is always good. A lot of brainstorming, of course. And yeah, well, I think that's pretty much the day. Like I said, there's no normal day, let's say.
Oh, that sounds amazing. And let's say,
Yeah.
when takes like 80% of my day. I'm pretty sure it takes a lot of percentages of other people as well. But on the outside, is there a hobby or skill that you enjoy practicing?
Well, like I mentioned before, I've always been into Magic the Gathering, and this is something that I play. It's like local tournament level, so Friday Night Magic and stuff like that. So, like I said, I'm really into card games, but other hobbies is just a lot of cycling. Cycling is that's something that has been with me for most of my time. I used to be really into BMX. Now I have kind of less time for it. So also I'm kind of getting older and older, so no more extreme sports, let's say, for me. But yeah, I think those are the main things. I like cycling a lot, and Magic the Gathering, of course. And of course, video games. I play a lot of those when I have the time.
That's good. Every player has a favorite card and a favorite faction and win at the moment. Could you tell us which ones are yours and why?
That's a difficult one.
It is.
Because normally recently I've started playing Skellige a lot, and I really like Skellige Discard, Guilty. And I've always really liked decks that have some theme attached to them. Before that, I played a lot with dwarves, and dwarves and Scoia'tael have always been like the go-to place. So I have to say for sure it's Scoia'tael. Like that's the faction that's closest to my heart. As for a card, I mean, I really like Aglaïs, but the card and also the character that I've always really liked is Regis, and he's always like my favorite and my go-to card. Although most of the decks that I played him in with were probably Swim's Dwarf deck that I really liked, so that I had Regis in that deck for sure.
Oh, yeah, that's not good. Now, let me tell you something.
Yeah.
As a community manager, I need an
Yeah.
answer because there is a topic that has been dividing a lot of people 50-50, including the members of one city. They were at 50-50. And the question is, Team Trees or Team Jan?
Oh, that's a difficult one. That's actually a topic that me, as working with the community, I've seen like pop up a million times. And if I said a million, I think that would pretty much put it how many times I actually saw it. But I can tell you that I've always been Team Yen for sure. But whenever I saw these like heated discussions of Team Yen or Team Tris or which one is better or who chose who in the Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, I would always kind of relieve the pressure, let's say, by saying like Team Zoltan, and people would kind of get along with like, yeah, he's a really good friend. And Dandelion, of course, is another example of a great friend for Geralt. So that was always done. But if I have to answer myself, I would say Team Yennefer for sure.
That's a really good answer. And just saying, when I play the game, I trust everybody because who am I to deny myself to the world? You know?
That's an interesting way to put it, but yeah.
Yeah. No. Well, now let's enter in a little bit more of a when CDPR related kind of questions. For example, CDPR has a huge reputation of being a fantastic developer, and what steps are being taken to uphold to that reputation when it comes to Gwent?
I mean, the number one thing that we've always done is we always try to be fair, and I think that's the most important thing. We want to be fair to gamers, since the majority of the people working in our studio are gamers, and we're really into video games, of course. But what we always want is to be fair, and we always try to deliver the best possible products. But it's not only about this. It's also about listening to the community and listening to what people are saying. And this has always been something that's very important, and something that we do here in the studio internally. And we always try to like take all the feedback and then try to input this to whatever we make and wherever we communicate.
Oh,
I think that answers the question.
yeah. And does this
I hope.
add? Oh, it definitely does. Does this add pressure as a developer?
Um, in a way, you could say that it does, but I don't really feel the pressure. I feel if you're doing something that you feel good with, then I feel that that's the way to go. And like I said, we try to be always honest, so that's what we do.
I've also feel that you guys put a lot of hard work on balancing, so there is no so-called OP strategies. The community is really good at finding these so OP strategies. Has there
It's true.
been an OP strategy that the community missed on, but CDPR didn't? And could you give us a
This
little bit
is
about it?
This is an interesting question. As you guys know, I also do the streams for Gwent, and as you normally see me, you see me in this room, and Luigi's next to me. And I've actually talked with Luigi if there are any like OP strategies that they've noticed that people haven't picked up on yet, and he told me that this never happened. Like most of the strategies come from the community. And sometimes the community finds strategies that even our testers and designers were like, "Wow, we thought about this, but we never seen it like put it to life." And when you give a game to so many people and they test it and they do their own thing, and you always come up with something interesting combos, different ways to use a faction. And what's really cool about this is that we gather more and more feedback thanks to this. Also, as you guys probably know, we have Retis that is on Reddit and is on Discord, and he's like really into game design and collecting all the feedback and information. And like he tries to reach out and collect as much as information, and then takes that information and actually introduces it into the game, which is really awesome. He's really helping us with the community work, also being a developer on the game, which is really awesome.
Yeah, huge shout outs to Retes. How's it going, Retes?
Yeah.
Now, on the ladder, will there be any changes done on the ranking system, and will the players have insights on this?
Well, I mean, this is something that we are constantly working on. That's as much as I can say. As far as having insight into it, I know it's like for me, it's super complicated because there's an algorithm that works behind the whole matchmaking system and the ranking system. But this is something that we are constantly improving and working on. So for sure, we will do everything possible to always have this improved and working even better.
Oh, that is awesome. Now there is a factor. There is an
Mm-hmm.
RNG factor in every card game. What is
Yeah.
CDPR stance on RNG?
Well, our stance pretty much is, like I said, in a lot of card games, you have this thing called, of course, randomness. And I think it's kind of inevitable in some way part of every card game. But what I think defines Gwent is that this card game is really based on outsmarting your opponent. And also, if your opponent or you make a mistake, if you're playing in ranked mode, you can see that whenever you pretty much mess up, that your opponent will pick up on this. And if you see your opponent making a mistake, that you can, of course, pick up on this. And I think this plays a major part for Gwent. And it's something that we've always tried to emphasize, that bluffing and outsmarting your opponent is really important in Gwent. So you have to not only know your strategies, but you have to know how each card works, what are their interactions, and what you can actually do. So I think this has been something that defines Gwent. And but of course, I've always like what I liked in card games myself is that you never know what you're going to top deck. So you can just, sometimes you play a card and that lets you draw another card, and you're like, I wonder what it's going to be. And it's either you draw something great that can, win you the game, but you can draw something that won't be very useful, and you might lose because of that. And I think this is something that is attached to all card games.
Yeah. Always on turn three, I just want to top deck the best that I can.
Yeah, me too.
Everybody a bit. This
Yeah.
we've heard that there is a single player in the making. How will how does this look like, and in what aspect is different from other single players on cards community?
hmm I mean, we're working on a single player campaign. Of course, we have mentioned this many times before. The first one will be the mini campaign, which you guys will be able to see. This will be, of course, for free to play. And I think I can't really tell much about it, but I think it's something that people who enjoyed The Witcher 3 will enjoy for sure, because we have the same writers sitting down and actually writing the story for this. And this will be actually different stories that tie in to The Witcher 3, but also are standalone stories that are in the universe and have been created by writers. So I think this is something that will be super interesting if you like what you saw in The Witcher 3. And if you're really into the lore and kind of the characters that are in the Witcher universe. I'm really excited for it. So when everything is ready, when we show it to you guys, I really want to see, or really want to see the feedback.
Yeah, that's awesome. This is what I love about when you guys are providing for people who are looking for the single player and also for the competitive. As the
hmm
competitive aspect, balancing five factions must be really difficult. What are the steps taken to ensure that all five factions are playable?
To answer this question, I have to do a big shout out to the game designers. I mean, these are people who are in our studio and are working really hard every day, and they provide us with feedback. We talk to them like all the time, and like you saw, I normally stream here with Luigi, and we really have a good rapport, and we always talk and consider what's going as planned or what should be changed. And it's like you said, I mean, it's quite difficult, and it's really hard to balance all five factions. But each faction, as you probably saw, has its own theme and what it's focused around. And that's what we try to always emphasize when talking about and designing new cards, for example, for a faction. But also, I think that, like I will say this again, that the most important thing is that the feedback that we actually get from the players and from the community, because this is something that we, if they see something that might not be working correctly, we take this information, we test it ourselves, we check it, and then we implement it. And I think that pretty much answers the question.
Yep. Every single little thing matters when it comes to Went, and I've noticed that you guys put a lot of effort into it. How does CDPR defines the success when balancing a card?
That's a good question. That is something that the gameplay designers would be best to answer, but I'll answer as good as possible. I mean, I think I'll take a card as an example to talk about. As you probably know, Vran Warrior
Mm-hmm.
used to be a card which had 7 power, if I remember correctly, and didn't have any abilities. And we weren't really happy with how that card performed because it wasn't really used much. So what we did is, I mean, what the designers did is they thought of an ability. And now if you look at Van Warrior, it's a card that is used in a lot of consume decks. And we're really happy with the way he's working, and that we could add another flavor to the card and kind of balance it a little bit more.
Awesome. And finally, is there any shoutouts that you would like to give to anybody?
Shout outs. I would like to give a shout out to everybody in the studio. I want to give a shout out to the whole Gwent community and to Gwent City, of course.
Yeah, thank you so much. Once again, thank you so much for being here, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys
Mhm.
next time.